restart at the beginning. Let's get a run through first and see where we're at. Yes?
Yes.
Do the last two notes. 1, 2, 1. Want to own it? No? Was it like a grace note into the last note or something? One of you four. Guys, for our first run through of the whole piece, it went well. It was a good first run through. What are the things that were the biggest traps? Think generally. You can think about specific spots, but don't be like the B flat on this. What specifically was it in general terms? Zoe.
You were trying to keep someone in the back and they just wouldn't let
Oh
you.
yeah, man. Isn't that my favorite when I'm like, come on! Right? And then they're just like, boop, boop, boop. Yeah, there was a spot I wanted you to play a lot louder. Did you catch where it was? Okay. Your entrance, let me give you an example. Your entrance in bar 9 is fantastic. Your entrance in bar 32 is phenomenal. That's a great volume. Even though it's marked piano, it's the perfect amount of presence. And then where you do the same entrance later in the piece at like before 125, that entrance is phenomenal too. There's a spot in the middle. It's 98. Even though it's one tuba only, I need much more presence. It's started to fall apart rhythmically with everyone because we couldn't feel the pulse, and the pulse is totally coming from you. So 98, at least the right hand. Good. Anything else? Enzo.
Keeping up with the tempo changes.
Yeah, the tempo changes were rocky. You know what was even rockier? Where there's a transition from one style to the next and no tempo change. Those were really rocky. For example, when we got to bar 64, there's no retardando before 64. There's a long note, And the audience doesn't hear any time during that long note. But I conducted through it, and when we got to 64, everything slowed down. And that style change turned into a tempo change in your mind, and we want to keep the tempo plodding along at the same tempo, right? So that's something we're going to have to practice. Anything else? Any other spots? Yes?
Not a spot, but in general, when there's a new part coming in and there's a melody that's played by a different section, it wasn't really pronounced.
Yeah, the differences, that contrast of I'm playing a flute melody, now I'm going to play a trumpet melody, now I'm going to play a clarinet melody, we're not hearing the contrast enough because the rest of us aren't getting out of the way enough. Yes? Okay, I think my biggest issue is you guys are playing the notes and rhythms and you're playing some of the dynamics, but you're not yet following the stylistic stuff I'm giving you. Right? There are spots that I'm conducting like this, and you're giving me a little bit of legato, and then I'm giving you, and you're giving me just a tiny little bit of bounce, like maybe some of you, but there's not that pronounced contrast between the two ideas. And this piece is all about contrast. One moment is hopping and skipping down the road. The next moment is stopping and looking at a flower and watching a butterfly, right? And you have to be able to make that switch like instantaneously. So let's fix some of those specific spots. Could we start at 51 and get into 64? My number one most important thing to remind you here is that the tempo doesn't change. So when we isolate that, the tempo is exactly the same. 51. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready? It's still slowed down a little bit. We've got a compounded problem. The bassoon, the bass clarinet, tenor sax, and trumpet one, who all have that melody together, you're not confident enough on it yet. It's not, it's, right? How does that change? The only way that will change is through repetition. You've got to play it over and over and over until you can play it in your sleep. Can I hear just that lick? Nice and slow. 2, ready, and go. Could you make sure you're matching articulation? The last 2 eighth notes are staccato and somebody's playing a little longer. 1 and 2 and 1. 1 and 2 and 1. Intonation matters too. Now a little faster. 2, 1 and 2 and 1. 1, 2, 1, 2. Make it sound like that when we get there. We won't have any problems. Back to 51. Let's actually start 52. 52 is a better place to start. 1, 2, 52. Gabriel Richardson went like this. Who was late? Who was it? It was not the bassoon nor the trumpet. You guys were actually together. It was the bass clarinet. And it wasn't an eighth note late. It wasn't a quarter note late. It was just a hair late. So it sounded like the short notes they were playing weren't short because you were just behind. You've got to be subdividing before you get there. When you hear that last little sigh, and then you play, don't let that sigh cause you to sigh and relax. You got to be counting right through. Right? Here we go. One more time, 52. Who plays on the downbeat of 52? Could you help us out, please? Ready? Have rest on the downbeat of 64? Just you? You guys play something new? Can you do it without breathing? Can you write no breath at 64? Can you play all the way to 1? Can you guys mark that with a pencil right now, please? Right quick. Okay, here we go. One last time. 52. 1, 2, set. That little sparkle that happens in people's teeth in the movies, right? Like I want to hear it. Don't hide it. I'll use the brass mallets, not the wooden ones, and let's really hear that little ping. I want it to sparkle. Okay. 64, right on it. That was a much better transition. 64. 1, 2, 1, and 2. We're a little behind. Push the tempo just a little bit more. 1, 2, 7. Ready? 1, 2, 1. What do I need more of? The bass instruments. I'm getting plenty of alto, I'm getting plenty of clarinet. I need the lower instruments. Ready? And 1. Which are the lower instruments? Raise your hand if you're playing the sign and you're a lower instrument. Okay, loud. Ready? 1, 2, 1. And that's what I want there. I know it seems overdone, but the audience won't hear at the end of the previous melody if you don't overdo it just a little bit, okay? Could we start, please, at 72? 72. 1, 2, ready? Check key signature. There was a key change in 64. Did you mark it? Did you mark it? Please mark it. We don't have time for this. Come on. 64. I said 64. I meant 72. 72. Save room for growth. That's the moment you want to go for. Not ba-da-da-dee-da-da-da-da. That doesn't really work, right? That's where we're always headed with that one. Bar 80. How many of you have a dynamic louder at 80 than you had at 72? It's softer, right? Can we do that? You guys all played louder. Hey, you all played louder. It will sound louder because there are more instruments playing, but you need to play softer. 80 with a big 1 and 2 and 1. More of an arrival. I don't want you to get crass, I don't want you to lose control of the tone quality. Without sacrificing tone, can we make 88 even more of an arrival? That'll be easier if you play 80 softer. You get me? You get what I'm saying? 80. Ready? 1, 2. Especially the sustained note is too loud. But save room, save room, save room. Ready? With the pickup, with the pickup. 1. Because I want you to keep watching, and I want to have that choice in the moment to do more or to do less based on how I feel at that moment. That's what makes music spontaneous. If I program you by doing it the same way every time, then we can't be spontaneous, yeah? Did you notice I didn't retard as much that time? It doesn't always need it. Sometimes you want to kind of just a little hint of retard on it, right? Like cayenne pepper. Sometimes you want it to be the turkey. Okay? One more time at 80. Let's see if we can just finish it out for me. Ready? There was one other spot I want to work on, but it's at the end, so let's get it. 80 with a pickup, and 1. Can I hear bar? I mean 9, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104. Anybody who goes bump, 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 bump. 104. Ready? 1, 2, set, and. What do you think?
I don't know where we are.
104. 104, 104.
It's not us.
It's where you have 8, rest, rest, 8, rest, rest. Bop, bop, bop. It's like the end of the upbeat phrase. Are you playing first trumpet?
No.
It's in the second trumpet part.
Yeah.
It's the third bar you play on.
Okay.
Okay? Can I hear it again? 1, 2, ready. That was better than before, but it's still really short. It needs to have a little ring to it. Day, day, day. 1, 2, ready, go. Less ring from the tuba, and I want you to check that pitch. I'm not convinced that's right. It's a D flat, right? Yeah, were you playing a D flat? No. Okay, 1, 2, ready, and. So much better. Can you mark that forever? Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're in 4 flats here, if you missed it. I do remember there was like a 5-minute rehearsal period where I asked you to go through and write all those in. Simon, I want you to take your pencil and write them all in for his part. Ready? 98. 1, 2, 98, and go. 4 before 114. The measure before that, so 5 before 114. If you have a dotted quarter note, raise your hand. No breath, crescendo. The crescendo was not nearly big enough. Okay? The crescendo was ineffective. So can you mark it so that you make it more effective? 8 before 114. 1, 2, and. Yeah. I didn't know anything else, but one person did the crescendo. 8 before 114.
Oh, 8. Okay.
2, ready. A squeak is a tone quality issue, yes?
Yes.
Never sacrifice tone for volume, yes? Never play so loud you squeak. Ready? Maybe play the first 3 bars of that softer so there's more room for it. 1, 2, ready. Yes. Let's do that. Once you get there by about the 3rd or 4th bar, you go dia, dia. Oh yeah, dia. Can you do it right from the get-go? Write something right at the beginning so that it happens. So that it's just. Yeah. 114. 1, 2, 114. Good. Listen to this. Listen to this. Check this out. Flutes and bass. 1, 2, flutes and bass. You hear how long that rings? You gotta fake that sound.
That was cool.
You gotta do that with air at the end of the note. If you go dia put, it doesn't sound like that. You gotta fake it. You don't have a string that'll keep going. You have to have the air keep going. Dia, ba, ba, ba. You gotta end it with H. Ready? One more time. One. Where are we? 140. 1, 2, set, and. Back. Yeah, you guys know we're doing one there, right? Yeah? I'm not hearing yeses.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's do it. 125. 125. 1, 2, set, and. Oh my goodness, there's now video of about 7 measures after I cut off. Yikes. I have proof that you don't watch. Come on, guys. Belle, that rhythm there always kind of throws you for a loop, and it's funny because it's with the first flutes. It's not an isolated rhythm. So can I hear flutes and piccolo at 131? 1, 2, ready, and 1. 1 and 2. Good. You rush it is what the tendency is. You usually come in a little early and then you power through it because you know it's not right, so you want to get it over and done with. Listen to these 3 and go with them and really count the first note. Everybody, 131. Playful, light, playful. 1, 2, ready, and. Did you play this? Did you play that? Because that's what I showed. Ready? 143. 143. Play what I'm showing you. Overdo it. Impress me with how you can read my nonverbal communication. Ready? And! I did this. And you did this. I'm serious. That was the difference. Ready? 143. Can you exaggerate for me instead of the other way around? Can I do what you did, and can you do what I did? Overdo it. Whatever it takes. Ready? 143. 1, 2, set, and. I'm getting it from the trumpets, and the trumpets are sacrificing a little tone to make it happen. I need everybody else to get it. Okay? Trumpets, it's maybe just one toe over the line. Ready? Everybody else, more. 1, 2, ready.